The steady hum of medical equipment filled the pristine corridors of the UNHS Solace as Dr. Naomi Rivers completed her rounds. Her footsteps echoed softly against the polished floors of Earth's most advanced hospital ship. Through the observation windows, the endless expanse of space stretched before her, occasionally punctuated by the shimmer of the vessel's defensive shields. Dr. Rivers to the trauma bay. The announcement cut through her thoughts. Priority 1 incoming. The medical team assembled quickly as a shuttle docked with their receiving bay. Through the airlock came a stream of injured beings, some human, others distinctly not. The casualties of the ongoing conflict between the Meridian Alliance and the Obsidian Collective had been mounting for months. Captain James Harrison watched from the bridge as more emergency vessels approached. His weathered face reflected both concern and determination as he studied their transponder signals. Status report. He called to his communications officer. Lieutenant Priya Patel's fingers danced across her console. Sir, we're receiving wounded from both sides of the conflict. The Meridian vessel is carrying their own troops, but they're also bringing in Obsidian civilian casualties from a colony they just liberated. In the trauma bay, Dr. Rivers worked methodically to save a young Obsidian soldier whose crystalline exoskeleton had been shattered by weapon fire. Beside her, Dr. Marcus Wong treated a Meridian Marine with severe plasma burns. Neither doctor saw uniforms or allegiances, only patients in need. Doctor, the Obsidian soldier grabbed Rivers' arm with his remaining intact limb. Why do you help me? I am your enemy. Rivers continued her work, carefully applying regenerative compounds to the soldier's wounds. On this ship, there are no enemies, only those who need healing and those who provide it. The relative calm of the medical bay was shattered by a proximity alert. Lieutenant Patel's voice came through the ship-wide comm. All hands, unidentified vessels approaching. They're not responding to hails. Captain Harrison straightened in his command chair. The Solace was a hospital ship, protected by every interstellar convention, and clearly marked with the universal symbol of medical service. Yet something about these approaching ships set off every warning instinct he'd developed in his 20 years of service. Shields at maximum, he ordered. Begin emergency patient evacuation protocols. Alert Earth Command. Dr. Rivers looked up from her patient as the announcement echoed through the trauma bay. Through the viewport, she could see 3 sleek vessels approaching, their hull design unlike anything in known space. Their weapon ports glowed with building energy. This is Captain James Harrison of the UNHS Solace, his voice broadcast on all frequencies. We are a neutral medical vessel operating under International Space Convention 147. We have wounded from multiple factions aboard. Stand down. The response came in the form of weapons fire. A warning shot that passed just meters from the Solace's bow. The shield shimmer intensified, but they all knew it wouldn't hold against a dedicated assault. Hospital ships weren't built for combat. In the trauma bay, Dr. Rivers made a decision. Lock down all critical care units, she ordered her staff. Initiate protocol sanctuary. The medical teams moved with practiced efficiency, securing patients and preparing for the worst. Captain Harrison's voice came through again, this time with steel in his tone. To all approaching vessels, be advised that attacking a hospital ship is a violation of every civilized convention. Earth takes the protection of its medical vessels seriously. This is your final warning. The unknown ships continued their approach, weapons charged, but before they could fire again, space itself seemed to tear open. Through multiple FTL entry points, Earth's 7th Defense Fleet emerged, their weapons already tracking the attackers. The message that followed was simple. This is Admiral Jun Zhao of the Earth Defense Fleet. You have threatened a medical vessel under our protection. Surrender or be destroyed. Dr. Rivers returned to her patient, a slight smile on her face. The Obsidian soldier looked at her in confusion. Your ship has no weapons. Why do you not fear? Because, she replied, continuing her treatment. Humanity learned long ago that those who heal must be protected. And we take that lesson very seriously. Outside, Earth's warships moved into defensive formation around the Solace. The unknown vessels, suddenly facing overwhelming opposition, began to retreat. As they fled, Admiral Zhao's voice came through one final time. Let this be a lesson. Earth's mercy is without limit. But threaten those who provide that mercy, and you'll discover our resolve is equally boundless. In the trauma bay, humans and aliens alike watched through the viewports as Earth's fleet stood guard. Dr. Rivers simply continued her work. There would be more wounded coming, more lives to save, and as long as there were those in need of healing, the Solace would be there, protected by humanity's unwavering commitment to preserve life in all its forms. The dimmed lights of the Solace's secure communications room cast long shadows as Captain Harrison reviewed the encrypted transmission from Earth Command. Admiral Zhao's holographic form flickered as he delivered the troubling news. We've confirmed your attackers weren't acting alone, Zhao reported, his expression grim. 3 other hospital ships have been targeted in the past month. Someone is systematically probing our medical vessel's defenses. Chief Security Officer Raj Sharma stood beside Harrison, his dark eyes narrowing as he studied the tactical data. The attack patterns are too coordinated to be random pirates. These are military-grade maneuvers. In the medical bay, Dr. Rivers worked through her shift, unaware of the growing crisis. Her current patient, a Meridian diplomat named Thela, watched with multiple eyes as the doctor treated her radiation burns. Your reputation for neutrality is well known, Doctor. Thela spoke softly, but there are those who see it as weakness. They believe healing the enemy only prolongs conflicts. Rivers continued her careful work, applying regenerative compounds to Thela's injured tissue. Healing isn't about taking sides. It's about preserving life. All life. That's a principle Earth won't compromise. The ship's alert system suddenly blared to life. Lieutenant Patel's voice echoed through the corridors. All medical staff to emergency stations. Multiple incoming casualties. Major incident at the Obsidian mining colony in Sector 7. Dr. Wong rushed into the trauma bay, his medical tablet displaying incoming patient data. Explosion of the colony's primary reactor. Both civilians and military personnel affected. First wave arriving in 10 minutes. Rivers quickly finished Thela's treatment. Prepare all available beds. Alert the burn unit and radiation specialty teams. She paused, something about the situation nagging at her trained instincts. Marcus, doesn't the Obsidian Collective have a military base in Sector 7? Their 3rd Fleet's primary staging area, Wong confirmed. But according to these reports, they were slow to respond to the emergency, almost as if they were waiting for something. Rivers finished. She hid her comm badge. Gridge, this is Dr. Rivers. I think we might be walking into a trap. On the bridge, Harrison was already reaching the same conclusion. Tactical analysis, he ordered. Lieutenant Patel worked her console quickly. Sir, the distress calls are genuine. But we're detecting unusual energy signatures at the edge of the sector. Ships running dark, trying to stay hidden. Chief Sharma stepped forward. They're using their own people as bait, counting on our obligation to respond to medical emergencies. Classic ambush setup. Harrison's jaw tightened. He faced an impossible choice: risk his ship and crew by walking into an obvious trap, or abandon wounded civilians who desperately needed their help. Contact Earth Command, he ordered, but prepare to proceed to the colony. We took an oath. Dr. Rivers organized her trauma teams, knowing they were heading into danger. The Obsidian soldier she had treated earlier watched her preparations. You know it's a trap, he said, yet you still go. Always, Rivers replied, checking her medical supplies. That's the price of mercy. Sometimes it costs you everything, but you pay it anyway. The Solace moved steadily toward the mining colony, its white hull gleaming against the darkness of space. In the shadows of a nearby asteroid field, multiple weapon systems tracked its approach. But the attackers had miscalculated. Earth's response to the earlier threat hadn't been a one-time show of force. Admiral Zhou's fleet had remained in the sector, running silent, watching and waiting. As the first enemy ships emerged from hiding, revealing themselves to be rogue elements of the Obsidian military, they found themselves caught between the Solace and a fully prepared Earth battle group. "This is Admiral Zhou to all hostile vessels." His transmission carried the weight of absolute authority. "You have 3 seconds to power down weapons. We will not allow you to use your own people's suffering as a weapon." In the Solace's medical bay, Dr. Rivers and her team continued their preparations, ignoring the tactical situation outside. They had their duty: to heal, to save, to preserve life. Everything else was someone else's responsibility. The would-be attackers, facing Earth's overwhelming firepower and caught in their own trap, had no choice but to stand down. As Earth's ships moved in to secure the vessels, Admiral Zhou contacted the Solace. "Proceed with your mission, Captain Harrison," he said. "We'll handle the cleanup. Your medical teams have work to do." The hospital ship resumed its course to the mining colony, its mission unchanged despite the threats around it. In the trauma bay, Dr. Rivers looked at her assembled team. "Remember," she said quietly, "every life we save proves why we do this, why we take the risks, why mercy matters." Outside, Earth's warships maintained their vigilant watch, a steel wall between those who would exploit suffering and those dedicated to ending it. The price of mercy might be high, but humanity had long since decided it was worth paying. The emergency meeting aboard Earth's flagship Vigilant brought together commanders from across human space. Admiral Zhou stood before the assembled officers, the holographic display behind him showing the locations of recent attacks on medical vessels. "The situation has escalated," Zhou began, his voice carrying through the hushed chamber. "We've identified the mastermind, Admiral Chorus of the Obsidian Collective's Black Guard. He believes that medical neutrality makes us weak. Today, we prove him wrong." Commander Diana West, tactical specialist for the 7th Fleet, stepped forward. "We've tracked their movements across 3 sectors. They're not just targeting individual ships anymore. They're planning to hit multiple medical facilities simultaneously." In the Solace's medical bay, Dr. Rivers and Dr. Wong reviewed patient data from the mining colony rescue. The casualties had been extensive, but they'd managed to save most of them. A young Obsidian engineer, her crystalline form still showing traces of radiation damage, approached them. "I overheard the guards," she whispered. "Admiral Chorus plans to attack during the Centauri Medical Conference. All the hospital ships will be gathered there." Lieutenant Patel's voice suddenly came through the ship's comm. "Bridge to Dr. Rivers. We're detecting unusual quantum signatures. Something's coming through." Before Rivers could respond, space itself seemed to twist. A massive vessel emerged from quantum space, the Obsidian Dreadnought Inevitability, Admiral Chorus's flagship. It dwarfed the Solace, its weapon ports already charging. "This is Admiral Chorus to all Earth vessels." His transmission carried a tone of smug superiority. "Your experiment in medical neutrality ends today. Surrender your hospital ships or be destroyed." Captain Harrison stood on his bridge, his response immediate. "This is Captain Harrison of the UNHS Solace. We do not surrender to those who would weaponize suffering. Earth protects its healers." In the vast darkness of space around them, more quantum ruptures appeared. But these weren't reinforcements for Chorus. Earth's defense fleet had been preparing for this moment, developing new technologies and tactics specifically designed to protect medical vessels. The Earth ships that emerged were unlike anything seen before. Their hulls incorporated advanced medical shield technology, allowing them to extend protective fields around hospital ships while maintaining offensive capabilities. Commander West's voice came through the fleet channel. "All ships, initiate Protocol Guardian. Remember your training. We protect without destroying. Show them why Earth's mercy comes with teeth." Dr. Rivers watched through the medical bay viewport as Earth's new defensive fleet moved into formation. Their ship's design reflected their dual purpose: to guard and to heal. Even their weapon systems were designed to disable rather than destroy. Admiral Chorus launched his attack, expecting an easy victory. Instead, his forces found themselves facing an entirely new kind of warfare. Earth's ships use precise, surgical strikes to disable weapon systems and engines while protecting vital life support. "You see, Admiral," Zhao's voice carried across all channels, "we learned from our healers. Like them, we know exactly where to apply pressure to stop aggression without taking life." In the Solace's trauma bay, Rivers continued her work, treating wounded from both sides as the battle raged outside. An injured Black Guard officer looked up at her in confusion. "Why do you still help us? We tried to destroy you." "Because that's what healers do," Rivers replied, sealing his wounds. "And that's why Earth will always protect us. We understand that true strength lies in preserving life, not taking it." The battle reached its climax as Earth's defensive fleet demonstrated their new capabilities. Ships that attempted to target medical vessels found their weapons mysteriously malfunctioning. Those who pressed the attack discovered their life support systems compromised with surgical precision. Admiral Chorus, watching his mighty fleet being systematically disabled without a single ship being destroyed, finally understood. Earth hadn't been weak. They had simply been waiting, developing, preparing to protect their healers in a way that honored the very principles those healers represented. "This is Admiral Zhao, to all Earth forces." The transmission carried pride and determination. "Remember why we fight this way. We are not here to destroy, but to protect. Not to take life, but to preserve it. Show them the true meaning of strength." The Solace continued its mission throughout the battle, its medical teams working tirelessly. Through the viewports, they could see Earth's ships moving in perfect coordination, their advanced shields creating a network of protection around all medical vessels in the area. As Admiral Chorus's fleet retreated, their weapons disabled and their tactical advantage lost, Captain Harrison turned to his bridge crew. "Send word to Earth Command. Tell them the new defensive protocols work. The hospital ships are safe." In the medical bay, Dr. Rivers finally allowed herself a moment of rest. The young Obsidian engineer from earlier approached her again. "I understand now," she said softly. "Your healing isn't weakness. It's your greatest strength." Outside, Earth's defensive fleet maintained their vigilant watch, their new technology a testament to humanity's commitment to protecting those who heal. They had found a way to defend without destroying, to protect without compromising their principles. 2 weeks after the battle, the UNHS Solace headed toward the rescheduled Centauri Medical Conference. The massive gathering of hospital ships from across known space would proceed as planned. But this time, they would be far from defenseless. Dr. Rivers stood in the newly expanded trauma bay, overseeing the installation of advanced medical equipment. The recent events had led to unprecedented cooperation between Earth's military and medical divisions, resulting in technologies that served both healing and protection. "Doctor," Lieutenant Patel called from the doorway, "you have a visitor." Admiral Chorus himself stood there, no longer in military uniform, but in the simple garb of a patient. The crystalline patches on his form showed signs of quantum drive exposure, a condition that only Earth's medical technology could treat. "Your fleet nearly killed me," he said quietly, "yet your people offered to heal me. I had to understand why." Rivers gestured to an examination bed. "Sometimes the best way to understand is to experience it firsthand. Shall we begin your treatment?" On the bridge, Captain Harrison received an incoming transmission from Admiral Zhao. The holographic display showed hundreds of ships converging on the conference location, hospital vessels from every known species, each now protected by Earth's new defensive technology. "The Galactic Medical Council has ratified the Treaty of Protected Healing," Zhao reported. "Earth's defensive protocols are being implemented across all participating nations. We've changed the future of space-based medicine." Commander West's tactical fleet maintained a protective formation around the gathering medical ships. Their new hybrid vessels, part warship, part medical support, represented humanity's innovative solution to an age-old problem. "We're detecting multiple quantum signatures," Patil announced. "Ships emerging from FTL." The new arrivals weren't hostile forces. They were hospital ships from species that had previously stayed neutral in galactic affairs. Earth's demonstration of protecting medical vessels while refusing to compromise healing principles had shifted the balance of power. In the medical bay, Dr. Wong joined Rivers in treating the former admiral. "The quantum damage is extensive," he observed. "You must have been desperate to risk such exposure." "I had to see it myself," Chorus replied, wincing as they repaired his damaged crystalline structure. "How you could be so powerful yet choose not to destroy. How you could heal your enemies without fear." Captain Harrison's voice came through the ship-wide comm. "Attention all hands. The Centauri Medical Conference is officially beginning. For the first time in galactic history, medical vessels from all known species are gathering under unified protection." Through the Solace's viewports, the assembled ships created a spectacular sight. Hospital vessels of every size and design, their hulls gleaming with the universal symbol of healing, protected by Earth's defensive fleet. They represented a new era in galactic medicine. Dr. Rivers completed Chorus's treatment, her actions demonstrating everything he had failed to understand about Earth's philosophy. "The strongest warrior," she said, adjusting his final regeneration sequence, "is one who knows when not to strike. The greatest power is in healing, not harming." The conference proceedings began, with the Solace serving as the flagship of Earth's medical fleet. Representatives from across the galaxy discussed new protocols, shared medical knowledge, and established frameworks for mutual protection. "We've received a priority message," Patil announced on the bridge. "The Obsidian Collective is requesting permission to join the Treaty of Protected Healing. They're offering to convert their Black Guard vessels into medical support ships." In the observation lounge, Admiral Zhou met with Captain Harrison and Dr. Rivers. Through the viewport, they watched Earth's defensive fleet demonstrating their protection protocols to delegations from newly joined species. "What you've achieved here goes beyond medicine or military victory," Zhou said. "You've shown the galaxy a new way forward. Protection without aggression. Strength through healing." The Solace's medical bay remained busy, now treating patients from more species than ever before. The staff had grown to include doctors and nurses from multiple worlds, all learning from each other, all protected by Earth's commitment to defending those who heal. Admiral Chorus, fully recovered, stood at a viewport watching the proceedings. "I came to destroy what I thought was weakness," he said to Rivers. "Instead, I discovered a different kind of strength, one that will change everything." As the conference continued, the Solace maintained its vital mission, healing any who needed help, regardless of species or faction. Earth's defensive fleet stood guard, their presence a reminder that mercy and protection could coexist, that healing need not mean vulnerability. Captain Harrison made one final ship-wide announcement. "To all crew members of the UNHS Solace, and to all those gathered here today, you represent the finest aspects of humanity. Our commitment to healing, our drive to protect, our ability to innovate without compromising our principles. Let this conference mark the beginning of a new chapter in galactic medicine. Earth will always stand guard over those who heal." The assembled hospital ships, under the watchful protection of Earth's fleet, lit up the darkness of space, a testament to the power of combining strength with mercy, protection with healing. The Solace continued its mission, now part of something greater, a galactic commitment to preserving life in all its forms, protected by those who understood that true power lies not in the ability to destroy, but in the choice to heal.